Hello everyone, today in this video I'm going to show you guys how you can make your own Windows 11 debloated install. That way you can have a performance oriented Windows 11 without any extra background task or unnecessary resource usage. The first thing you're going to want to do is download a tool called NTLite, and I'll have a link to the description for this program. You're going to click download and you're going to select Windows 10 64-bit. It's going to download it, and while that downloads, you're going to want to search Windows 11 LTSC download. It's going to be the first link that pops up from Microsoft. You're going to want to select Download Windows 11 IoT. Now this version is going to come debloated already by default because it is an IoT Enterprise LTSC. This information you do have to fill out, so I'm going to go ahead and fill out all my information real quick. And for the company name, you could just put myself. Select the region that you're in. For company size, set 1. And then for job role, just put IT. And for country code, you could just type in your phone number and then select your country code. And if you don't have a phone number, you can try and use a free VoIP number, or you could even use a online service where you pay like $1 or $2 and it gives you a temporary number. For questions and comments, just put NA. You can untick these last two boxes and then you can click download now. It'll take you to the download page, and you want to select the first one because it's x64 or AMD 64 edition. ARM is for mobile devices and tablets. So once you click on that, it's going to start your download. While that downloads, we'll get another program called Rufus. This is what's going to be setting up our USB with the Windows 11 install once we finish downloading and setting everything up. When you get to this web page, you're going to select the first one, Rufus 4.11 EXE, depending on what system you're on. And I'll have links to all these things in the description. That way you can get to them really easily. Now, once that's all set up, you can close out of these other tabs. We don't need them anymore. And I'm just going to pause the video while we wait for this download. Actually, there is one other program I almost forgot. You can search O&O and it'll be the first one that pops up right here. I'll link this one as well. Click download for free, and then you're going to click download now. And I'm going to let these finish downloading. Once they're done, I will come back and we'll move on. Okay guys, so now that everything is finished downloading, what we're going to do is we're going to open up each file and copy what we need. So first you can install NTLite. You can also install Rufus. Rufus will run as a standalone. There is no installer for it, so we'll just leave that in the background for right now. You're going to click accept and hit next, and you can leave all the settings to default unless you want to change where they're at. Once it finishes, it's going to launch the program NTLite. Select free, limited, non-commercial license, select OK. You'll be greeted with this right here, and that's perfectly fine. All we have to do is press Windows and E, or open up a folder, go to your downloads, find your download for your Windows 11 IoT, and I'm going to paste mine on the desktop so it's here right now. Go ahead and drag and drop it into NTLite. And then you're going to see Windows right here deployed, and you're going to see this stuff as well. First of all, you don't really want to touch anything in boot/setup, and you don't want to touch anything for the recovery environment either. If you double click on this, it'll drop it and you'll see this. This is what we want to mess around with. If you double click on it, it'll tell you that this is going to create a writable copy of a reference image in the subdirectory of the edit cache. Just click OK and it's going to unload the file. And to make this process go faster, you don't have to do this, but you can if you want to. It'll help a lot. Open up your Windows security, go to virus and threat protection, and under virus and threat protection settings, you're going to click manage settings. You're going to turn off real-time protection. And if you don't, it'll even tell you while you're doing these steps in NTLite. At some point, it'll prompt you and tell you that you can turn that off to make the loading and unloading of the ISO file go quicker, and it does significantly increase the speed. Okay. Once the image is mounted, it'll turn to a green dot like this, and that means you're ready to go through everything and select what you want. You don't really need to touch updates or drivers or registry or post setup. That's more advanced stuff, and you don't really need it for what we're doing here. When you go to the components tab, it's going to tell you about this warning. Just click OK. Now here, you can hit the drop down box and you'll see a lot of other things, a lot of other options. Most of them do have notes, so it tells you what it does and what it's for. You don't have to worry about this list too much because it does look intimidating since there's a lot of stuff. But I'm gonna have a fully detailed explanation of everything of what you should and should not touch and what you need if you're a gamer, if you need 365 for school or work, and if you need Microsoft Store or want Xbox games or Game Bar on your computer still. You don't need to touch drivers at all, and if something isn't able to be unchecked, it's more than likely because it's needed or required by the system, so you can't remove it. And then there's scheduled tasks. You can choose certain tasks in here that you want to have disabled or enabled. It's really up to you. But again, I'll have a detailed list of everything that you need to touch and modify in the description. And then there's the features. These are all just basic features that come with Windows, such as Notepad, Recall, print and document services. These are optional. Not all of them are. Some things you will want to keep. For example, if you don't need Windows Media Player because you use VLC or another third-party program, you can untick that. If you don't want Microsoft Print to PDF, you can untick that. If you don't want Recall applications, you can also untick that. But I'll have a complete list of everything. That way you know exactly what you do and do not want. So let's just say, for example, in this video, I'm going to remove these three things that I selected. I'm going to go back to the components tab. That message will pop up again. I'm going to click OK. And I'm just going to find something in here that I don't want, such as Microsoft Message Queue, or sorry, not Microsoft Message Queue. Remote desktop protocol, if I could find it. You can also search the filter. Remote desktop server. So if you don't use RDP, which is where you use another computer to connect to this one, you can untick that. It's going to tell you everything that it's going to remove. Just click yes. And then once you're done with everything and you have your Windows configured how you want it, you come down to the Apply tab. It's going to show you everything right here that it's going to do. Each one will highlight green whenever it's finished. It shows the things that it's going to disable right here, shows the components it's going to remove right here, and then it'll tell you everything that it's done and once it's finished. Select on the left side the Create ISO option. It'll ask where you want to save it. I'm going to save mine to my desktop, and I'm just going to name mine Win11 Classic .iso, and I'm going to press enter. It'll ask you what label name do you want it to be. I'm just going to name it Win11 Classic, and then I'm going to click OK. And now it's going to start the process once you click up here on the process button. It's going to say it's going to start applying all these changes, so select yes. And then I'm going to speed up this part of the video because it can take some time depending on your system. So I'll come back once it's finished. Guys, so once it's completed, it'll pop up this box and it'll let you know that it's completed and that it's been saved and how long it took. Just click OK. And you can see right here, it removed 33 files and it was 2.9 megabytes. And it completed this, it completed removing the files, and then the final install size was changed, so it's a little bit smaller now. That's not a big deal. That's perfectly fine. Once that's completed, you can close out of that, and you no longer need NTLite unless you plan to do a different version or come back and do this again. Now we can go on to Rufus, which I already have open. So in Rufus, you want to select your Windows or your USB drive, and then for disk or ISO image, you want to hit select and then choose the one that we just made. And it's going to auto default to these options. Leave it on standard Windows installation unless you want this as a portable Windows copy. Leave it on GPT because MBR is older and it's not really used that often anymore. And target system, you can leave it as default. All these options will be set to default already, and you don't really need to mess with them. If you click start, click OK, it's going to tell you that it's going to remove all files on the drive that you're using. You can select this if you're not sure if you have these options already configured in your BIOS. However, if you're on Windows 11 already or Windows 10, these options more than likely are already set in your BIOS, even if you don't know what they are. It's Secure Boot and TPM 2.0, which are needed to install Windows 11, but this will remove that requirement as well as the 4 gigabytes of RAM requirement. You can also remove the requirement to make an online Microsoft account, which I would recommend doing unless you want to sign into Microsoft and have the features like OneDrive and Microsoft 365 being used on your computer. You can also create a local account. I would recommend doing this as well because it just streamlines the whole process of installing it, and you can choose your username. When you log in, I'm pretty sure you'll just press enter or log in without entering a password. It'll then tell you that your password is expired and you need to set a new one. You can use this computer that you're currently on. You can use the options for the region to set the values to the same as this one. Completely up to you. You can disable the data collection, skip privacy questions, and then I would recommend using disable BitLocker automatic device encryption. If you don't know if this is on or not, it's a good idea to just check it just in case. When I reinstalled Windows, it told me that I had this on even though I've never turned it on myself. And luckily I was able to log into my Microsoft account and get the key. However, if you tick this box, you won't have to worry about any of that at all. Then click OK. It's going to tell you that everything on this device will be destroyed. It's speaking about your USB device. Hit OK again, and then it's going to go ahead and format and then copy the files properly so that you can install Windows 11. This may take some time depending on your computer and your drive. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back whenever it's done. Okay guys, so now that we're back and our USB drive is finished, you can hit close and you can go ahead and eject your USB and plug it into the computer that you're going to install it into, or if you're going to install it in the one that you just did all this on, just leave it plugged in and you'll reboot and go through the installation like you normally would. I'm not going to cover that part in this video, but I do want to say a few things real quick. This video was mainly to show you how to install a debloated by default Windows 11 version, and on top of that it shows you how to remove extra features and unnecessary things that you don't need, as well as another layer of debloating. After you install Windows, you're going to open up O&O ShutUp10, and once you open it, it's going to look like this. All you have to do is go to Actions, create a system restore point, and that will restore your system in case anything goes wrong. Now, what you want to do is you either want to select Apply Recommended Settings, Recommended in Somewhat, or All Settings. This is completely up to you. You can go through the list and also tick them off as you go if you want. Some things I had to re-enable because I needed them, like Microsoft 365, so that's why these ones are turned back on. And if you go to local machine, these are all the settings for the local machine, and then Copilot, and you can remove these features as well if you don't need them. Now, you can apply these changes, revert changes, and click show only changes. However, this tool will create a restore point just in case you mess something up or something goes wrong, you can restore it. This version of Windows that you have installed will get security updates, but it will not get consumer feature updates. That means the updates where Microsoft Windows released an update and it would brick your computer if you had a USB keyboard and mouse plugged in, those updates won't apply to you. You won't have to worry about features or updates like that bricking your computer. You'll just continue to get security patch updates, and that is it. This version of Windows does come as a 90-day free trial, and after the 90 days you have to reinstall the OS again, but I will link a video at the end of this one on how you can resolve that issue. So if you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Leave a comment if you need help with anything, and I'll see you guys in the next one.